This is Sean Payton, head coach of the New Orleans Saints. What's with this Saints happy cast? This has to be the worst Saints podcast in the world. Ralph can't say anyone's name right. Andrew doesn't know football. Everyone has a hard time listening to Dave. And is Kevin even there tonight? The audio with this podcast, my God, the audio, it's painful.
All right, everybody, that's the Saints breaking news siren. Drew Brees apologized. That happened with the quickness. Less than 24 hours, he has apologized. The healing can begin with the Saints. I'm not surprised that he apologized this quickly. This was bad. We knew it was bad when we did the podcast yesterday, and it got progressively worse and worse as our 30-minute podcast ended. And by an hour later, I was like, oh my God, I knew this was horrible. It's even worse than I imagined. Like, the pile-on for Drew Brees was incredible in social media.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, this is such a central focus of the country right now. You know, all of America is paying attention to this issue, and it's a really important issue. And, you know, Brees, you know, as he stated, kind of missed the mark. That's a very slight way of putting it. You know,
that's like saying the audio on this podcast is troublesome.
Yeah, but you know, I think what surprised me is not the backlash; it's his teammates. You know, I mean, I would expect his teammates to flame him in private, you know, or face to face. But I mean, to be honest with you, and I say this as a white man, you know, watching that Malcolm Jenkins video was as impactful to me as a white man as anything I've ever read or listened to on this issue, because I felt his pain, man. And that's a really hard thing for me to understand. I think for any of us to understand what a black man in this country goes through. I just feel like Jenkins was so raw and so emotional. That did as much to teach me and help me learn as anything. But like that really caught me by surprise. And I mean, my God, man, Colston, the man who never speaks.
He's never said anything. He never said anything interesting as a Saint, but he did that because Colston doesn't want to talk to the media. Like, he would literally, with the New Orleans media, the time he was there, he'd be like, guys, I'm going to talk to you one time a year, and that's it.
Yeah.
And the NOLA media was like, that's cool. Colston, he doesn't want to talk to us. He doesn't want to do ads or whatever. He just wants to be left alone. That's cool. When two things that made me realize that even I didn't understand how horrible this was. And I knew it was very bad, but two things. Colston tweeting at Brees, and then when Marcus Davenport jumped in and tried to defend Brees and Cam Jordan was like, this ain't it. I was like, they're fighting with each other. I'm like, yeah. This is horrible. And that just made me, you know, and look, social media, there's a percentage. Social media has and always will be the land of wolves, but in pandemic times, it is the land of hungry wolves, and there's a certain percentage. They're just not going to care. Like, they're just going to. This is scarlet letter for Brees. This is him forever. It doesn't matter what he does. Those people, they're annoying on social media, but that's not really the issue to me. The issue to me is, can the locker room forgive him? He's asked for forgiveness. Can they forgive him? And I think, like you said, to me, it starts with Malcolm Jenkins, because Malcolm Jenkins has been out front visibly with the protests, kneeling. He's been out front, one of the guys for 4 years. So to me, Drew Brees.
I'm going to disagree with you there. I think maybe it starts with Malcolm Jenkins in terms of maybe the public.
Yeah.
You know, the people in the public that are really hurt by this. Obviously, Jenkins spoke the loudest, and that
Yeah.
was the most impactful. So I agree with you. But inside the locker room, Jenkins has been gone for a while, and
Yeah.
I still think he's a leader and players respect him, but he hasn't
DeMar-
been in that locker room. I actually think it starts with Demario
Yes.
Davis and the statement that he made today, which is that in response to Brees' apology, which was basically like the true sign of a leadership at its finest is to apologize, own your mistakes. And so I feel like Demario Davis coming out and saying that probably already goes a long way towards mending the fences. And I actually think it starts with him because he's the guy that players in the locker room respect. So,
Oh, completely, yeah. I was going to say him and Cam Jordan as well.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So, but that's not to say that Malcolm Jenkins' opinion isn't important. It definitely is too.
Well, the reason why I said Malcolm Jenkins is because Malcolm Jenkins, he's the guy the national media goes to. They don't go to Cam Jordan. They don't go to Demario Davis. Malcolm Jenkins was on CNN while we were recording our emergency podcast yesterday. So like when Scott Van Pelt and First Take and everyone talks about it, the voice they want to hear from is me and you can say, well, it should be Demario Davis because he's the leader, and it should be Cam Jordan. The guy they're going to want is Malcolm Jenkins. So I think the public face, he's just as important. And look, the thing is for me is this time it's just so difficult and it's so fraught to talk about. And look, the thing is, there's no people that are entracted and dug in on the flag. I don't know what to say to you people. All I can say to you is this is a time, man. Black people, people of color, brown people, my wife who's Mexican, they are hurting. They are scared. And the thing is, they're cooped up. You add the pandemic on top of what happened in Minnesota, and people are cooped up in their houses. And the thing is, it's just so raw. And I just think the sort of niceties where in a normal time, if you didn't have the pandemic, even Andrew, I think the Drew Brees response from Saints players, it would have been bad, but it would have been more measured. I just think people and minorities and people of color, they're raw, and they are frustrated, and they're just not going to take it, and they're not going to be, for Malcolm Jenkins to go at a Hall of Fame quarterback that's on his team was a remarkable thing. And I just think the times have changed everywhere.
They have, yeah. I think it's important to say this though, Ralph. I think it's important to remember that people make mistakes.
Yeah.
And that they can change. And look, I said this on our Discord channel, and if you're a Saints Happy Hour member, you get that no matter what. If you're a patron, you get it no matter what level you donate at. So come join us in the chat. It's a great community where we get it's a safe space where we get a chance to share our thoughts and not get blasted like you do on Twitter.
Yeah, and it's people more commonality, and you don't have the Twitter sort of bile and sludge. And I can say this as a person that had a tweet go viral. My mentions when I woke up this morning were a disaster of trolls and bots and just people just spitting the most vile things at me. So Discord channel is just more pleasant, but continue.
It is. Yeah. But I think it's important to say that, look, I'm just really glad that social media and phone cameras and all that stuff wasn't around in college when I was going to college, because I made a lot of mistakes.
Oh, totally.
Like too many to count, and I'd shudder. I wouldn't be employed right now. I would be unhireable, I'm sure. And I mean, we all make mistakes in college, but my point here is, I just think, yes, Brees is a grown man. He should have known better. I don't know that he's ever going to change so much that he's going to become a spokesperson for Black Lives Matter. And I don't know that we necessarily have to expect that of him. Like we can further this cause without Drew Brees if we need to, but I just think he's got to start with a sincere apology. And I know that I'm already seeing it. Tons of people out there saying these are just words. I don't accept Brees' apology, and like you said, like no matter what he says, he's gonna have the scarlet letter. But like he came out, and I really felt like what he needs to do in the here and now is apologize, own what he said, own what he said, and admit it's a mistake. Apologize, state that Black Lives Matter, basically, and ask for forgiveness. And those were kind of the four things, and he did all of them. He checked every box. And so you may have been wanting more out of a statement. You may want action, but today in the here and now, it had to start there, and that will have to suffice for today.
Well,
and so like from here on out, it's going to be about his actions, sure. But I think as Saints fans and as someone who likes Drew Brees and wants to see him, I hated to see this yesterday. This was painful for me to watch Drew Brees go down in flames, because besides him being the quarterback of my team, I root for the guy. I like the guy, and I don't want this for him. But I think this was a first step. I think it's important for us to also keep perspective that he's a great guy. Like he donated I can't remember $5 million.
$5 million to the state of Louisiana,
to the COVID relief fund in Louisiana. Most recently, I mean, the things he's done in the community after Katrina in 2006, the things that he's been doing his whole career, and he gets his hands dirty, man. He's not just a guy that throws money at stuff. So I think it's important to remember who Drew Brees and who he is. And I know that he has some beliefs that are very hurtful. And I know that he has some opinions that are maybe a little closed-minded. But to me, like, you got to start somewhere. And today was a start. And hopefully he grows from here. But I think you got to take the bad with the good, and that goes for all of us. And, this is an important cause that will continue, and it's bigger than Drew Brees. It's bigger, than all that. But I just hope that we're able to move on from this and focus on the real issue, because, when it comes to military, World War II, and talking about all that stuff, to me, that's just distractions. That's not even the issue.
No, you're right. It's not. But the thing is, for me, is first thing is you gotta ask, you gotta say you're sorry, and he did that. He can't do everything today. Like the first step is I'm sorry. I'm sorry I hurt you. I'm sorry I said these mean things. And then you go on and hey, all these people that are saying the apology's not enough and he's got to do more. You're right. But keep track of it. Hold his feet to the fire. Let's see where he is in a year. Let's see where he is in 3 months, But I want to say, I know this topic is heavy. I know it is. But Andrew, can we talk for just a second about the fact that Drew Brees set his reputation on fire and burned it possibly to the ground and has to rebuild it because he went on something called Yahoo Finance? I mean, there's a possibility that this podcast gets more downloads than whatever the hell Yahoo Finance is. Like, they didn't even have the graphic correct. Like, they weren't expecting Drew Brees to, like, step on a landmine. Like, it was just, like, that guy. Like, it would be one thing if he had gone on Scott Van Pelt or First Take or chatted with Stephen A. Smith or Diana Rossini or something. But, like, Yahoo Finance, like, Drew, what are you doing?
I'm just speechless, Ralph. It'd be one thing if it was Ed Werder, or Adam Schefter, if they were responsible for setting his reputation on. I mean, he's responsible for his own words, but Yahoo Finance. I hadn't even heard of it. I mean, I know Yahoo, of course, but Yahoo Finance, like.
Yeah, come on, Drew. If you're gonna make this kind of news, at least throw it to the local guys. Like, at least throw it to Underhill so we can get some more subscriptions, or at least throw it to us, man, or the Athletic, Cat Terrell, or somebody, man, or or Luke Johnson.
I mean,
like,
how much is the Yahoo Finance loving this? Like, whoever that dude was that interviewed him, like, this is the greatest day of his life.
I mean, I'm just saying. I mean,
it will never get better for him.
It will never not be funny that Drew Brees just set everything ablaze and possibly tore the Saints locker room in two because he went on Yahoo Finance. Like, if we ever have a worst decisions in Saints history, this bracket, this will be a top 4 seed. Like, it just boggles my mind.
Yeah, no,
but
really, it's unbelievable. But you know what it is, Ralph? Like, this really feels like a mistake that happened during the Ditka era.
It does.
Or before Jim Mora. You know, like this feels like a Saints comedy bit from the era where they just were like worse than the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, this is like straight out of the Saints. Let's hire an astronaut to be the general manager playbook. You know?
Yeah,
it's going Yahoo Finance.
There's hope.
Torch my reputation.
There's hope for the season. We have a star quarterback, and he's about to rip the whole locker room apart.
You know, the one thing I will, and we'll end on a serious note, and I mean this, and I think I'm saying this, I would say this regardless. The Saints are so lucky to have Sean Payton in this moment, because I think if there's anybody that can fix this, it's Sean Payton. And look, he's a guy where the players saw what he tweeted out yesterday, I believe, or yesterday, or a couple days ago, where he tweeted out a picture, George Floyd, a picture of the young man in Atlanta. I'm not going to say his name because I'm not going to butcher it. He tweeted out both of those pictures and was like, in 22 weeks, we can do change. And that is a direct shot at who's in the White House. And Saints players, they notice that sort of stuff. And they know that Sean Payton is with them and he cares about them. And I think him having that reserve of goodwill and trust on the players, I think if there's any coach in the NFL that can fix this, it's him. I totally believe that. There's no other coach that I would rather the Saints have at this moment.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think, obviously he's on the right side of things, and a lot of fans have respected how outspoken and, oh my God, I can't believe we didn't talk about this. Sorry to take another joke turn here, but I need to actually ask Connor Payton about this, because did you see that Sean Payton replied to the
Shooter McGavin
character? And I don't think it was a joke. Like, I need to ask about this.
Is that real? Was it a real thing, or was it photoshopped? Like, Shooter McGavin said, we're having a meeting with Drew Brees at 9 p.m. on the 9th green, and right. Sean Payton tweeted at Shooter McGavin, those meetings were already planned.
Yeah.
And I was like, that can't be real. But the person who screenshotted it isn't the kind of person that is a fake comedy account. He's just an NFL reporter, blogger guy. I don't think he would have taken the time to design fake
it's legit.
tweet.
But my question was, like, was that tongue in cheek? Like, was he? I don't think he would make a joke out of that. I think it was literally like he thought Shooter McGavin was like trying to report a real.
Yeah, like the thing is, like, I guess maybe he thought, like, we gotta talk to Connor. Like, does he think Shooter McGavin's real? Does he think it's the actor? Like, I need to know. Like, why was Sean Payton?
That provided the levity I needed yesterday.
Why is Sean Payton responding to Shooter McGavin when his locker room is in crisis? We need to know this.
Oh, that was so funny.
It did.
But yeah, look, I mean, maybe it's me being glass half full. This issue is bigger than the Saints. It's bigger than Drew Brees, and that's not really for this podcast to figure out. Like, it's bigger than us. That's not what our show is designed for. But as far as the Saints are concerned, they'll figure this out. I truly believe that. And I just think Brees is too intelligent. He's built up too much goodwill over the course of his career. He cares too much. If he was an asshole, or if I thought his heart was in the wrong place, then I'd be more concerned. But I just think, look, Malcolm Jenkins obviously is Demario Davis. Their hearts are all in the right place, no question about it. And so I just think they need to come in, and that's the beautiful thing about the NFL is you have guys from different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different everything, and they all come together for a common goal. And I just think the leadership inside that locker room is too strong. The players, they care about each other too much not to figure this out. And I truly believe that ultimately this will be a thing of the past. But, a lot of this is going to fall on Drew to change a little bit and to listen more. And I believe he'll do that.
No, I think you're completely correct. And look, I think this is a moment where some good can come. I think a lot more good can come out of this because it's happened, and I think Drew is the kind of guy he'll want to. I think he want to make this right more than just a way of I want the social media backlash to go away. I want the locker room to be okay. Like, he's going to make an effort to make this right among his teammates and among the people that he cares about. And hopefully,
that's actually a really good point, Ralph. Like, I didn't think about that until just now. But in some ways, Malcolm Jenkins has been outspoken about this stuff for a really long time. And I think on some level, some of what he says probably falls on deaf ears because, if he hasn't connected with someone yet, I wonder if he's ever going to. And you know what I'm saying? Like, some people just, like, if they're not listening to him, and I wonder if for some people what it will take to maybe change their mind or what it will take to open their closed minds is to hear from a guy like Drew Brees come out and say, hey, you know what? I was wrong. I made a mistake. I used to think this way, and now I understand why that's hurtful, and now I think this way. And I actually think that for some people, hearing that from Drew Brees is going to be more impactful for social change than what Malcolm Jenkins says. And I'm not saying that's fair. I'm not saying that's right. But it's an interesting point you made because actually I think Brees coming from a place like that may resonate more with some people, and it may actually be better and more impactful in the long run in some ways.
Well, yeah, and look, my wife says this all the time, and she'll say to me, white people, y'all are the majority. Y'all have to do the change. We can tell you, we can scream, we can protest, we can explain it to you, but you have the levers of power. You have to do the change. And, it's just a function of it, right? And I think when she says it, she's like, the civil rights bills, all that was Lyndon Johnson. Like, y'all have to get on board and push it through. And I just think a voice like Drew Brees can help do that. So look,
yeah.
This Andrew, could the Saints just have one off season not filled with chaos and national news?
Well, I'm resigned, Ralph, on that front. I at this point, I'm looking for 24 hours, maybe a week, of respite from. At this point, I will happily have a 24-hour period of dead Saints news where we have to scratch our heads and come up with top 10 lists and ridiculous podcasts about if Deontay Harris can be the next Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
I want that. I want to go back to that if we can.
Well, and here's the thing.
I never thought I'd say that.
This Drew Brees thing proves one of the critical laws of Saints Happy Hour podcast, and that is any Saints news in June that's big news is usually awful. That is a fact. Like, if you go back and you tell me all the Saints news that has happened in June in the last decade, I would bet you 99 out of 100 of them are horrible.
Well, I was hoping that a Clowney signature could disprove that theory, but nope. You're absolutely correct as always.
Loomis signed Clowney to give Drew some cover.
I was saying that yesterday on the Discord chat room. I was like, Loomis, please sign Clowney right now. Do it for Drew. Do it for any, just to help us talk about something else.
And also, the other thing that this has proven to me that is ironclad fact: never, ever, ever go on Yahoo Finance. That's what I'm saying. So, guys, thanks for joining us. If you're new to the podcast, thanks for joining us. Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts: Spotify, iTunes, Apple, Stitcher. Subscribe to us. Stick around. We have the most fun of any Saints Daily podcast. We appreciate you guys. Have a great day, and we will see you again tomorrow.